backlinks, backlinks. I'll say it one more time for you so you can hear this. Backlinks. What are backlinks and why are they important? Thank you for joining. And I'm always excited to be on Clubhouse these days. I feel like it's a whole vibe. We all get to talk, we all get to connect, we all get to hear things, and we all get to build. So I'm looking forward to this. Austin, thanks for joining and thanks for being here. I'm going to be sharing this out to everybody out there. So please make sure that you are listening, you are tapped in, you are connecting, and you're going to learn some new things today. So I think this is a topic that was of interest to people. In the last room, I think we had, yes, yesterday's room in the SEO Sunday room. Somebody was like, yeah, let's talk about backlinks. I said, you know what? I'll make this a whole topic and talk about it for the hour and let more people come in and let more people understand how this works. So I think with this app, it takes a while before people get to see it. And the app has really grown. It has really, really grown, like really, really, really grown. So I have a story to tell y'all. It's a follow-up story. I feel like it's like if somebody's literally watching a movie or a series and they're listening to these episodes, they can really like tell in between the lines what stories are, what's going on, has it been documented, and what's the real tea, because that also helps you. Because I talked about a company that reached out to me and something happened today, so I'll talk about it later on in the room. Remind me, Austin, if I forget, but would love to hear from you. What's up? How are you? Welcome to the room and good evening.
Good evening. Hello. Glad to be with you. Always love learning SEO and marketing with you, Favor. So just here to keep the hot streak of learning going on my side and to support you. And I just pinged some people in the room that hopefully may join as well. What's up, Brian? So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, Brian. Thanks for being here too. I see you, Franklin, Craig, Shan, Barbara. You're all welcome as well. Thanks for being here. We're talking about backlinks. What are backlinks and why are they important? What's up, Brian? And feel free to come up if you're free, but if you're available, we'd love to hear from you too. Backlinks, right? I want to start off by saying this in today's room, so when people are listening to this replay, they can also factor this in. Backlinks are the backbones, or I can say a backlink is a backbone, if we want to call it a single unit, to your business, to your website. It's the backbone. A backlink is a backbone. Why is it a backbone? When you have a back, you have a bone structure, right? How you sit, how you stand, your posture, your demeanor, your breathing, your exercise, just everything. Like there's a lot to do with the backbone. We don't talk about it much, but it's there, right? So when you have a website, your website also has a backbone, because who you're connected to on your website is the brand that affiliates with you that potentially becomes the market share that you also contribute to, right? Welcome, Dr. Fashion. So if your backlink is a backbone, then the backbone has to be strong enough for it to withstand the wind, the pressure, the rain, the tornado, the earthquake, the fire, right? How is your website going to withstand all those millions and billions of websites, right? There are 1.9 billion websites. So how are you going to withstand the pressure? That pressure is going to be really strong, right? So if you want to make sure that your backlinks are strong, then you need to support it with other businesses. That's why when you watch Shark Tank, right? Shark Tank, you see investors and you see somebody who wants to make an investment, like somebody who wants to make an investment in their time in their own products being realized by actual investors who are going to invest in the company, and that's a potential ROI for them, right? That's where that comes from, right? So if that person wants to even get on a show, they're going to have to do research on the person's website, the person's brand, right? So your website is also going to have that. So when you end up on Shark Tank and then you have an article on your website talking about being on Shark Tank and there's a video to support that, that's a news article. You don't have to be a Huffing Spot or New York Times or you don't have to be Wall Street Journal to have a news article. As long as you have a domain, you can have a news article. But the thing about news articles is everybody can say the same thing. So what makes your statement, your definition different from somebody else's, right? So those are major things that you have to look at, right? And you have to look at those things long term. If I ask you, Austin, for example, if you look at a website, I know you're not looking at the backlinks, but what makes you trust a website when you just look at it based on first glance?
Ooh, just trust and first glance. I mean, um, you know, purposeful design, you know, explainers or maybe, bios about me. It kind of depends on the nature of the site, right? Like I might evaluate a review site a little bit differently than a personal brand site, for instance. But yeah, it's kind of funny. There's a few different frameworks you might view that through. What do you think?
Hmm. I'd say one thing I would look at, I like how you put that. That's a really good way of, looking into it. One thing I would say is that, hmm, for me, if I was to look at a company like off the rip, like I will not even waste time with this. This might be subjective for some companies because not all companies are on this platform. But I think for me, this is a yardstick or a litmus test, especially from a B2B standpoint, that at least gives me some confidence or some type of credibility. So if I see a website and I look at their social icons. And one of their social icons is LinkedIn. And their LinkedIn redirects me, or their icon redirects me to their LinkedIn company profile. And they actually have an active company profile. That backlink is a social external link, but it's also a backlink because on that company profile, your website is listed on that company profile on LinkedIn. And even if you want to go a step further, if you have an RSS feed, you can actually connect your RSS feed for your podcast into the LinkedIn company profile. So you're pretty much indexing in a way, indirectly on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn actually push notifications out to you when you have a podcast episode released and it's on your timeline, so you can repost it to your company profile. So I would look at backlinks to that deep extent, and not a lot of companies do this. So I wouldn't expect everyone to do this, but at least the bare minimum of at least tagging your most popular product, even if it's a YouTube, that's also very credible because that shows video, it shows your profile, it shows you're alive, you're in action, you're making moves, you're doing things that actively your last post was not 2 years ago, it was 2 weeks ago. So it shows those things. If you're active on a podcast, you should be active there consistently. If you're active on blogging or emails, there's some type of consistency within that. So I'll look at that as a first metric. What do you think about that, Austin? Especially on LinkedIn too.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, LinkedIn is, uh, I feel like the whole nother beast. I guess that was kind of my point with saying evaluating through different lenses or the purpose of the website. Yeah, LinkedIn is like the ecosystem, and the fact that you basically have someone's whole career or work history or portfolio. You have so much immediate context, and then even probably even multiple different ways to reach out to third parties or to contact them directly. All those things I think build trust. If you have a ton of information but no way to verify it or no way to contact them, it might not be trusted.
That is so true. That is so true. And I think LinkedIn and YouTube are one of those huge anchors. And Pinterest, don't forget Pinterest. Those are great places that really show your authority online. Of course, Google. Can't forget Google. So I think that would be let me put this. If I was to say the big five, I've never said this before, but I think if I was to put a big five of search incorporating with AI, I'll be a little, lenient on that. I would say Google, Google, YouTube, Pinterest, Google, YouTube, Pinterest. I'm gonna do a slice here. Microsoft, Bing, and also U, because U.com is powered by Bing, and U.com is an AI search engine. So I'll put a U under Microsoft, and then played nice. I'll do Reddit. Those will be my top five or big five. What do y'all think? Hey, Brian.
What's up? I love the subject of backlinks, man. Um, a very underutilized tactic in marketing because it's so hard, but hard things make big impact, right? Love backlinks. So, Favor, love to share a tip, a professional marketing tip on how to get backlinks with a couple of tools. Is that okay?
Let's go.
Let's go.
We're
All
on the
right.
edge of our seat, Brian.
Yeah, here we go. I'm going to take as long as I want now. So, yeah, here we go. Drum roll. Boom. So, Ahrefs, check my links. It's a Chrome extension. I don't know if anybody knows about it. Here's a trick. So, you find broken links on websites. I found very successful with this. So, you use the tool, check my links in Ahrefs. You find broken links on websites in your niche. So for me, it's like video production or for your business or campsites, whoever you are, you find broken links on websites with these tools. Focus on high authority websites that discuss, whatever topic. You reach out to the site owner or the editor or whoever. And this is really easy to do with another tool. You can find their email address and you let them know about that broken link. They'll be like, "Oh, wow, thank you so much for telling me." And then in return, you just say, "Hey, why don't I put my content in that link instead of what you had as a broken link? I've been around for so long, my website's been up for so long, and I think that maybe, my link won't break this time and it'll be good for optimization for search." Broken links, Google hates it, right? So and then you explain pretty much why you're important. If they say no, if there's any objection, which most of the time they never do, and you get a backlink. So, a couple of tools again: Ahrefs, check my links, which is a Chrome extension. So you can go to any website, and what this tool does is it checks for broken links. So I know I go on like video editor forums, I go on video editing websites, I go on, so much stuff for my niche because that's my industry. And I find broken links and just ask the web editor to replace it with my stuff. And wow, the authority you get out of that is amazing. So thank me later when it works for you. Thanks.
And
Oh,
Brian,
I got another
follow
one
up.
too. I got another one too, but
Let's
I'm not
go.
gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I probably just dropped a huge gem in here just now.
For real. No, agreed. And I've heard that this is a pretty great win-win for both parties, right? Because I've been slowly learning some SEO stuff courtesy of Favor, and yeah, like you said, Google doesn't like the backlinks. Also, um, correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of like keyword stuffing. I think there's some sort of a penalty if you cram too many links in certain areas of a site. And but to your point, it seems like a real win-win for them, especially if they take over your link as suggested. What do you think your rough kind of hit rate or acceptance rate is once you hear back from the original site editor, Brian? Because I'm sure it's not that hard of a sale, you could say.
Yeah, so I'm really all about the compound effect, right? So I do things incrementally in slow motion. So it's almost like building a brick wall. So you start with 5 to 10 websites. I mean, I still do this to this very day. 5 to 10 websites, you send an email out, you send a request out, whatever. You find them on LinkedIn if they're really a high authority website and you really want to get on there. Um, I say, out of 5 to 10, I get 3 hits back, sometimes 2. Then you go on to the next 5 to 10. I don't spend a lot of time on it, but, out of a week, maybe, last week I did this for a client. and I got back, sent out about 50 emails, 50, 60 emails, got about 15 to 20 back, I'd say. And, there were high authority sites and webmasters. I don't know if you call them webmasters anymore, but web people, developers, whatever, they love it when, the case is, your site is showing if, backlinks are broken, your links are broken. That's the big sell right there. Your links are broken. And if you really want to keep your site optimized for search on Google or any other, search engine like Bing or whatever, you want to have those links not broken because it can ruin you. And then right away they're like, yes, okay, yeah, I'll switch it up. And then you say, yeah, I got the same information. Why don't I give you my link? And it works. So I'm not saying it's 100% of the time, but if you get a high authority website and you get that backlink, that's super impactful. And then there's another trick for Reddit, which is a high authority website that you can use for backlinks. But that's like a high level premium tip that I'm not going to give here. Sorry.
I love it. Thank you. There you go, Austin. That's it. Thank you. We're learning. It's it's a big thing because I feel like it's so impactful that we can do this. Welcome, D. And hey, Craig. I don't know if I was able to say good evening. You know, when you look at the big picture, right? And you're trying to let me make a mirrored image like this. You go to your Google Search Console. On the bottom left, you'll see links. You click on links and you see your pretty much your portfolio. People don't really go there. They go to performance, they go to sitemaps, but they don't really go to links. So you go to links and you're gonna see there are anchored links. There are, internal links, external links. That's where you find all your backlink storage. It's kind of like like when you look at a CPU and you look at the back and you look at all the wiring frames, that's really where it starts to create that connection, right? So you start making it connect the dots faster. When you look at it month one, you're like, okay, two backlinks, month two, 5, month three, 10, month four. Before you know it, you stop looking, you come back 12 months later, you have 120 backlinks, and these are high authority looking backlinks because they are toxic backlinks as well. They're healthy backlinks, and toxic backlinks are also can be spammy. And I don't know if you've ever known this or heard this before, but your backlinks have a dollar amount. If you've never heard that before, this is probably your first time hearing this. Your backlinks have a dollar amount. And if you really want to know what it is, you can search by using a tool, for example, like Uber suggests. And if you connect your website, it will tell you how much your backlinks are worth. It will tell you $45 to $70, $500. That's just like you know how much your domain costs. You can also get to know how much your backlinks cost. So how you can determine how to increase your, I don't even call it your budget, but your capability to increase that is by making sure that your content has both informational value and commercial value, because when you have those commercial content pieces and informational pieces, it makes your connections faster. When people shop, they shop mostly on the weekend. So if you write commercial content for your emails over the weekend with blogs attached, product guides, things like that, it changes. So it's like, okay, yeah, we're saying this. How do we make this a reality? It goes to research. It goes into behavior. Sometimes you want to watch your audience for a month, see what are they talking about, introduce one product, and then that way you can build it on there. So by the time you look at your backlinks, it's fast. And I think the fastest way to build backlinks, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Brian, too, because you have a podcast, is simply creating sequences of episodes that allow your business to gain authority as a brand when you're leveraging media across different channels as opposed to just hosting your social, I would say, your portfolio, if I can put it like that. because we talk about social currency. If you look at your financial portfolio, you have a checkings, you have a savings, you have a dividends portfolio. So if you look at your social currency, what platforms are you using that give you that dividends or leverage of media or credibility or domain authority? So I think the fastest way is podcasts, because you can, literally be on one episode, publish on 10, 25 different, streaming platforms at the same time, and you're still building that into your arsenal. So what do you think about that, Brand? Do you think there's a faster way than podcasts to extend that?
Oh yeah, I think that's genius. I think that's genius. So I'm gonna, and I've done that many times. I'm gonna go a step further on that favor if I can.
Yeah.
Um, so you get, so let's say you have a podcast and you have a topic. Like I remember a couple of weeks ago, I did a podcast on the topic of what's your top tip for landing remote video editing jobs in 2024. So I got 30, 35, actually 40 micro influencers that I knew on LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn group really helps, right? So I'm like the moderator for one of these LinkedIn groups. I hang out a lot on Reddit. So I was able to compile these guys like really, really quick. And I emailed them and I said, hey, can you do like an audio bite, or can you come on my podcast and answer this question? You don't have to be a guest. Just give me an audio bite. So I compiled it all together, and then I told them, and then I sent it to them to listen. And instantly I got like 35 backlinks back. Instantly pointing to the show, because of course they were on it and they're like, oh, I got to link that back up. So that's a good tactic right there to get backlinks instantly from your podcast. Does that help? That goes a step further, doesn't it?
It
You can do an art.
does.
You can do an article too. An article is a cool thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Which would
Yeah,
boost it even more.
totally. I think that longevity is where it's like you're stretching the arm beyond its limit. Like you drop, because some people, like, I would look at this hierarchy. I'll keep building on this. I'm gonna kind of like create a castle or a sand castle while saying this. So picture this: person A has a podcast. That's it. Person B has a podcast and has a website. Person C has a podcast, has a website, and has an email list. Podcast D has a podcast, of course, has a website, has an email list, and has sponsorships, right? Person E has a podcast, has a website, has email, has sponsorship, and also has merch. I won't go to, I'll keep going higher than that. But if you look at those levels, A, B, C, D, and E, those are the levels that you decide where you want to be on, depending on how hungry are you, how passionate are you, how tenacious are you, and how detailed are you. Because there are 4.2 million podcasts, but not all 4.2 podcasts are person E, right? Some are not even within person A because they drop after an episode or two. So how do you measure that success, and why are these important to you? Because when you think about your backlinks, you're like, wow, this is actually easy to do. But it's not easy when you think about it. It's easy when you breathe about it. Why I'm saying that is because just the other day, and I'm gonna do that again this week. I'm nervous, but I'm excited at the same time. If you guys see my Instagram, you'll see when I did a cold plunge for the first time, and I also did infrared sauna and vitamin C shower at this really nice spot. And I got there, really cool, got in there. And when I was doing this, was at like 50 degrees. Like the water was so cold. Like your hands already freeze, talk less of your whole body. Right. So I got in there and I was like, I'm going to do 30 seconds. I ended up doing 3 minutes because you're supposed to do 5 minutes. So it's an hour session. So do 45 minutes in the infrared sauna. I hit like 140 degrees body temperature. And then I cool down at 50 degrees temperature. That thing just changes your whole mind. They call it contrast therapy. That's what they call it, which is really nice. Like you feel so calm. Like if something is happening, your mind is at peace. Like it's so relieving because it's internal and it's external. So why I'm bringing this up is because when I think about the mindset of doing something in those 3 minutes, when I did that cold plunge, I wasn't thinking about the cold. I was breathing and focusing on my mind. That's what made me forget about the cold. It was cold as fuck. It was cold. Like it's cold like damn, I gotta get out of here. Like, why am I even torturing myself? Who asked me to do this? But in my head, I was like, no, Favor, you paid for this. You came here to make us. You don't want to leave here walking out of that door and you didn't come here to do what you came for and you pay. Like, I was like, nah, not happening. So I had to put myself in that mindset and not think about it. So why I'm giving you that example is if you think about all the posts you have to create, all the content you have to produce, all the podcasts you have to publish, you'll never get there because you'll be thinking, and the time you're using for thinking should be used for doing. So we'd love to hear thoughts, Austin or Brian, Dr. Fashion as well, D, Craig in the chat. Let us know, what are you thinking and how do you also challenge yourself better when you start feeling like you get comfortable?
Yeah, thinking sucks sometimes. Too much thinking really gets in the way of creativity. That's my first thought. Sometimes I sit at my computer and I just think about the next post, and then I think about what I'm going to do, and then I do a lot of research. And yeah, I'm going to do that post. I'm going to talk about this topic. I'm going to do this, do that, and then it's time to go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't do anything. And then I wake up the next day and I'm so tired. Like nothing's been posted. So thinking too much is um, not a good idea in the creative world. You got to execute on your thoughts. That's what I'm thinking.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, value is in the action. Thinking it's worth something. It's good for risk management and brainstorming and vibing and whatever. But yeah, definitely action.
I like action because it's a call to action. It's a call to respond. And that's what businesses are doing businesses for, communities to respond to their product. Oh, I don't like the product. This product makes me feel like this. Oh, I don't like this product. It makes me, feel like this. Or I like this product because it makes me feel like this. So those feelings are very important because that's what makes or breaks a brand. If if you have green, yellow, and orange, and I like red, and I never see there's a limited red edition, I can never participate because you didn't create that opportunity for me as a consumer. I didn't, it's not that the product sucks, it's just that I didn't choose that color. That's why you think about even Apple, they've given you what, four colors, four colors? I think it's four normally, or five, correct me if I'm wrong. And you get those colors and you choose the one you want. Like my iPhone 14 is a purple one. I don't even get to the back of my phone because I have a cover on it, but it's purple. You know, compared to somebody else may have a black one, a red one. It depends on what it is. So it changes. So if you choose like what you're getting based on your preference, then it also adds color to your style because you're doing it because you love what you're creating. So there's so much you can do. Right now that can really help you grow. Because if you have a business and your business is doing well, you can really do well, on those platforms. Create connections, let more people see your business. Because those backlinks, that's the backbone. That's what people are going to use to identify and connect with you. If you ended up on Good Morning America tomorrow, or on the Forbes list, or on a Times magazine, or in an interview with, someone, or you were being interviewed by someone, that changes everything. That's a backlink. That's a human backlink. Let me put it like that. Because you're now connected, you're now affiliated, you're now in terms with, and you're also a part of that market share, that brand, that affinity. So you're still getting a piece of that community when you ended up as a guest or as a host of a place. So if you're hosting content, we think about hosting websites. We don't think about hosting social media. We don't think about hosting our intellectual property. We think about hosting domains, but we leave it at the technical. We don't go to the creative. We don't go to the intellectual. We don't go into those things that actually make or break the connections. When you, instead of doing manual indexing, do automatic indexing. Those are things that will change your business, because when you start indexing pages automatically, you start to create faster. So anytime you make a change on your website, the background is working for you. These are things that happen. Today, I have a story for you guys today. I'm not going to forget this story because I'm going to let you guys know before the room is over at the top of the hour. But I'll tell you what happened today. This has never happened in my whole business career. And I'm just like, wow, this is interesting, very, very interesting. But I love it because it also shows your authority and what you can take. I'm laughing because I'm like, man, if this was 2 years ago, I'd have probably said yes easily in a heartbeat. But right now, I know too much not to just, just say yes on the first call. It was crazy, but I'll let you guys in on that. I'm just giving you a little scoops, but it's so interesting to see how when you connect, and it's going back to backlinks, because how I even got on that call was because of a backlink. I left a review 9 months ago on a platform, and 9 months later, another company is asking me about AI and charging me for my time because they wanted to know something. And now it's turned into another call, which is now what we're going into. So it's like, oh wow, this is actually a new stream of income. Because I've always thought about, consulting. I've done it at large scale, but I've not done it 30 minutes being paid what you'd be doing in 3 hours, if that makes sense. And it's like, huh, this is actually crazy. And it comes from LinkedIn. Because every time I ask, I'm like, LinkedIn, we have a client that they do mobile drug testing and DNA paternity testing in Memphis, and their biggest competitor is Concentra, because that's the company. I didn't even know about it till I talked to him about it, and he got to connect with me because somebody that was on an Uber recommended me to him. Like the crazy stories. So I'm now working with this guy, amazing guy. I connected with him on LinkedIn. That was the first thing I did, because remember I said when I look at a website, where do I go? LinkedIn. So I connected with him on LinkedIn, and then got on a phone call with him, and we're now doing business. And he started getting phone calls because we're planning to do billboard advertising. But before that, we said, let's put you up on some local citations. Let's get you on the map. Let's actually get you programmed in. So we did that for the first 2 weeks. And then we're like, something is missing. So we realized that, okay, there's some things that he's needing to answer questions about that his businesses can provide, but he doesn't have them in pages that people can read. So that's a missed opportunity. So that's what we're now creating, live case study in point right now. And he started getting calls. So I talked to him today. I was like, yeah, you were getting calls. Then I was like, did you ask these guys where they found you? He was like, no. I'm like, bro, we got to work as a team. And he was laughing too, because I was like, I mean, I want to make sure everybody's happy, but I can't help you if you can't help me. Like, I can give you all the information, but if you can't give me that one information, I can't know how to move, because you live there, not me. If it's international, the same thing. So, but it's fun too, because I get to learn from my clients more than, that's why I love working with them, because I learn more than them are actually learning from me. So I even get to learn about what those testings are, just learning things that I never Google. So it's crazy, but it's information that is very important, and I can easily pass that information on because I know the concept now. So connecting with him, I say, hey, next time they start calling you, before we start even putting these billboards up, start asking them, how did you find me? How did, and when they tell you, jot it down. Like figure, and then when you start hearing the same thing, you get to know exactly where your strength lies. Because when you hear that feedback is going to tell you where to improve your profit margin. If I want more oranges and you bring more bananas, who's going to get the profit margin? Who's going to win that competition? The person who has more oranges, or the one who had the bananas that didn't listen? So you have to look at where your audience is. That's why backlinks are so important, because when they are showing up for you in places that you can show up on your own, but you're in support of that link because somebody else commented or reposted it or tagged you or commented, it's a huge thing. I told y'all yesterday how somebody on LinkedIn sent me a message in the morning. I was at church in the morning from nowhere. No good morning, nothing. Just boom, Favor. No, she didn't even say my name. She just went straight into it and said, hey, no, not even hey. I can't remember how it was. It had a chapter, it had a headline, and the next thing I'm reading is, we're looking for someone to talk about AI for ChatGPT. Are you interested in joining our podcast? And I'm like, who is this person? So I look at her profile. She has like 64,000 followers on LinkedIn. I'm like, who is this? So I'm trying to figure out, like, how did you find me? That was my question. Because every time this happens, it's exciting because I don't know the answer. And when I find the answer, it makes me more specific on where I should stay more and where I should hang out more. This trip I went to in DC is because of LinkedIn. I ended up in a Zoom last week because of LinkedIn with 39 people that are focused on AI. So now somebody on LinkedIn called me about a business that they're trying to do some research. And I'm like, ChatGPT, yeah, we need to learn about the SLMs and the LLMs, right? The small language models and the large language models, right? So those things have to be done. They have to be researched, but people don't know them. So when I talk about these things, they're like little keywords that open doors, to different things that allow you to find more things. That's why they're called keywords. It's not just called keywords for keyword's sake. It's keywords because it opens a door. That door is impressions, people, reach, conversions, buttons, signups, interest, desire, content frameworks, discounts, incentives, all those things is because there's an affinity. There's an act-alike audience, right? That's what they call it on Pinterest. They call it look-alike in Meta. So when people act alike, they do alike, right? So when they do alike, they know alike. So you have that know, do, act formula that you create. Because if I know something, if I know better, I'll do better, right? And if I do better, the actions I'm going to take is going to, constitute to my behavior. So that's how I'm going to act. So when you look at the whole picture, it's like, where do you want people to act? Right now on Pinterest, we're running quiz ads on Pinterest, which is fun because I noticed Kroger started doing it. I told you about how Kroger is using Pinterest ads for quizzes. So you get leads through quizzes and you're able to really pre-qualify your audience and do it in a very calculated way that is very targeted. So, I mean, everyone does it their own way, but the way it's done now, if you really focus on those communities, it's such a big win. So think about backlinks differently. Don't think of backlinks as that. And D, D, you asked about this yesterday. So I'm hoping this is helping you, because I really want to make sure that backlinks are not like really scary. They're not like, they're really well said. So wanted to hopefully hear your feedback in the chat too. But passing it to you, to Austin or Brian, when you think about backlinks, what do you think about then, or what did you think about then when you heard backlinks, and what do you think about now when you hear backlinks?
I've always heard of them as some helpful but innocuous part of on-page SEO. Some people talk about it as a must-have or a nice-to-have, and after hearing Brian's tip and strategy, and you give some more context, just seems like it's pure gravy, and yeah, it seems like it can even be a win-win.
Yeah, so back in the day, well, back in the day, I sound like an old man, but way back, backlinks were like, oh God, those are breadcrumbs. I want to go after the bigger fish, right? I want to go after the bigger tactics that are more important and more impactful. And backlinks were like just little breadcrumbs you were leaving on other people's websites. There was no such thing as like authority or, none of that stuff. At least that I wasn't really clear about. And now today, most of the marketing tools that I deal with really make link building super important. Like you can bulk analyze your links. You can, there's a link building tool, backlink audits, backlink analytics. I'm in SEMrush right now looking at a client, and they have a lot of toxic backlinks. And I'm so glad this came up today because toxic backlinks are like, little weeds and vines growing around your pillars of growth, right? They just kind of bring you down. And it's so important today, at least in my world. But back then, it wasn't really that prevalent than what it is now.
You know when people hear they have a broken link on their computer, or let's say on their domain, this is how they feel.
Yeah, their eyes are bugging out. Like this client right now that I'm looking at has 1.2, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1.2 thousand toxic backlinks. High, very high, from 5.7 thousand referring domains. It's insane. And all of them are like these leeches who just don't play the backlink game properly, right? There's a dark side to backlinks and there's a lighter side to backlinks. And unfortunately, some sneaky websites and just marketers who don't know what they're doing really take advantage of some of these tools that can, you know, get backlinks in a really nasty way. Like just inject PHP files on your website and force you to do backlinks or redirect a URL. It's sickening. Like this one I'm looking at right now is like 98 backlinks that are toxic. It's insane. So to answer your question, favorite, like backlinks are really, 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 really important because I mean, with Google and SEO and everything, you could have a quality website. They really want Google really cares about their customers who search on their website, and they want you to be nice and clean and play by their rules. And unfortunately, Google is like the biggest search engine in the universe, so you have to play by their rules if you want to get ahead. So having backlinks that are valuable and that work are so important. And 10, 15 years ago, I don't ever remember talking about backlinks. It was just like, yeah, okay, we'll just link up and that's it. But it's really, really super important now.
Oh yeah, totally. And I think people don't really see the potential in it because they don't see like what it does for them, or they don't even know the value. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's toxic backlinks like a virus. I can call it a virus on the server for your hosting domain. I mean, a broken link, a toxic backlink, it's hurting you more than it's helping you because it's hurting you because you're going against the guidelines of Google. So now, like for example, with Brian's link, the first thing that I came to my mind was, okay, if you're gonna deal with that, the first thing that I would do technically as SEO, if I put on my tech SEO hat on, I would say, okay, we need to disavow these links. And I'm like, okay, if we have to do that, then how are we also going to re-index it or maybe use the canonicals to get the base formula to understand exactly what that means? In other words, how do we clean up this mess so that we can actually just index the right information that actually helps the business than hurt it? Because those links that are on the website are also kind of leaching into what, like 404 error websites, for example, is like leaching into other websites that could just trickle in. You know what I mean? Because there's no directive architecture on the site, if that makes sense, Brian.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Like I'm looking at this leech right now, and forgive me for calling them leeches, but they use these ASPX code, they cache it. They bring it on their website and they cache it so it's a backlink for them, but it's not a backlink for you. And it's just it just ruins everything. It's and even though if you disavow, if I was to just like in SEMrush right now, if I was just to say, okay, I'm gonna click all of these and disavow, you know what? They're gonna be back. It's like just shooing away bees and then they come back. It's like, what how do you eliminate these toxic backlinks? It's my question. Like
Mm.
they just keep coming back. It's gotta be some kind of tool,
Like you gotta
something
get a
to block it.
repellent or something.
Yeah, like some kind of, shark spray. Because they're brutal. Like I remember 4 months ago, I disavowed over, I don't know, 15,000 toxic backlinks, and now they're back again double. So it's a different definition for backlinks because they keep coming back. And that's not what I want. Sorry, I'm working at the same time you guys
You
are
know,
talking.
the thought you just mentioned is so funny. I was laughing when you said the backlinks that keep coming back. It's true though, because it's like where do you get the best results? Is it from the backlinks? Is it from the supporting links, the internal links, external links? Those things have to matter. And I think if we think about how to improve our backlinking, let me say it like this. You have a house. The house has a front door and a back door, right? It has a garage entry too. That could be the third one, right? So if you have internal links, it means internally in the house, you have furniture, you have rooms, you have cabinets, you have kitchens, you have walk-in closets, you have drawers, everything is like put together, right? That's internal because this door leads to this room. This table is on this side of the house. Everything is in place, right? External is outside. How does your grass look outside? Are you keeping your grass low? Is your backyard looking clean? Are you also, are you good? Can people pass through your house and see that, you're taking care of yourself, right? Those are things that externally they won't tell you, but it will show because it's visible, right? So that's external link. So if you use that formula of back door, front door, internal, external, look at your website the same way, right? Your website has a domain. That's the house. People go to your website. That's the name of the house, right? Your website is abc.com. That's the house, right? Now, when they get into the house, they're going to find different rooms. What are the rooms? Articles, products. These are places that people can spend time in, right? Those are different spaces, different places, different pages, different domain authority sites, different page authority sites to be specific, right? So when they're on those pages, those are the links. Those are the internal links. So if somebody clicks on About Us or clicks on Contact or clicks on Blog, those are the internal links. So you're kind of going into the house. Like from the home page, that's why they call it a home page. It's a home, like when somebody invites you to their home, all you see is the home page. You see, all that you can see is what's in front of you. You can't see the back. You can't see upstairs. You can't go into kitchen. You can't see anything. That's all you get, the home page. You might not even get to the home page if you're not in the house. You might get the outside look of the homepage, right? So when somebody comes to your house, you have all those internal links on your website. It means that contextually, I get to know what you like. Oh, you like pink walls. Oh, you like art. Or you love jazz. Or you have vinyl set. Or you have a sneaker collection. Those things start to add more context, right, to the house. It's not just the color on the wall. It's also what is in the house, what's in the room, right? Or you have this, you have that. So it also adds style. When you watch Architectural Digest, for example, you can see the different houses, you see how they're designed and all those things. So it gives you like a scope. I remember when I was looking at one of the videos and I was seeing Tommy Hilfiger's closet, how he has like the same suit all in a row, same colors, just different. I was like, this crazy to kind of see what they look like, the closet. So these are things you don't get to see every day. So it adds color, right, to the style. Why I remember this is because it stood out to me. Not that I'm remembering it, it just came to me in context because it makes sense when I'm thinking about rooms, right? So these are the things that we have to, look at long term and ask ourselves, yeah, how do we, create these experiences for ourselves, and how do we also give more people those abilities to see those things? And then when you look at your website, do you have the same appeal? When you walk into a Target or a Macy's or a Family or Dollar Tree and say welcome, 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 you feel different in different ways. If you walk into a Brazilian steakhouse or walk into a Sky Lounge or an airport lounge, you're going to feel different when you hear welcome. So those feelings, the same welcome, it's the same voice, it's the same word, the same vocabulary, but different feeling, different expression, different moment, different mood, different things, different time. So those are things you have to look at as your website. Do people hang out during the daytime on your website? Do they hang out at night? Are they early birds? Are they night owls? Those are things that we have to think about. You know, those are things that we have to create as a business and ask ourselves, what is the brand archetype looking like? What are we creating for more people to see, so that when we actually create that, it's long term, it's dependent, and it's also independent on our ability to actually create more for others. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Austin and Brian. Anyone can chime in.
Yeah, I'm not going to give my thoughts specifically on that, but I was listening. I was kind of distracted because I went to my website at thedvshow.com, and some of my clients pay. And this is just talking about the importance of backlinks, and I know that's kind of what the gist of what you were just saying, Favor. And some people pay per click. You know, big campaigns. Some of my clients pay up to like $125,000 a week just for pay-per-click ads, and the return on that is tremendous, right? The cost per click, the average cost per click, all that good stuff. But they get a huge return on that, double for what they spend, because these are just different businesses. But for my little measly old website, I'm not paying for visits at all. It's all organic traffic. And I realize, backlinks are so important because I have 21 backlinks from 17 domains that's bringing in about 11,000 visits a month, organic traffic. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Uh, you know, not paying for I'm not paying for clicks. I have no paid ads at all. That's all organic traffic. So just staying on the topic of backlinks, they can be really nasty and they could be really, really, impactful for your business. 10,000 visits a month for free from 21 backlinks from 17 referring domains. That's huge. So if you think backlinks are silly, think again. At least for this domain. If I look at another domain, I could just imagine, some of my clients' domains and the backlink and the authority. But I don't know if I answered your question or talked about what you were saying, Favor, but
You did.
yeah, there you go. Backlinks are important. Ta-da!
They are. They really are. It's huge. I think if we don't see backlinks as that's why they call it backlink opportunity. There's a reason why it's called opportunity, because you can either make that opportunity happen or miss the whole opportunity in its entirety. So it's for you to choose. Opportunities are chances. If you want it, you got it. You want to jump, get it. All right. You're gonna score. All right, bet. It's up to you. But at the end of the day, it's like, how are your links making sense to people that are reading, they're connecting with you, and they're finding you, right? This is a story I wanted to tell you guys about. So it's a small room. So I would love to share this with you. This happened today. Very interesting. So, and this is two sides. I'll give you one. There are two stories. One of them happened when I was trying to figure out, like, and I'm so grateful that now with my business, the way it's grown now, because we hit 11 years, September 20th. That was like, what, 3 days ago? And I was like, it just went on LinkedIn. I got a message like, oh yeah, 11 years. I was like, what? It's been a while, And it's 11 years business, but it's going to be, 20. It's really going to be 20. Like, I'll say 2 decades music wise. Entertainment business is almost half a century. When I think about when I first started like getting really serious with business, music, entertainment, actual sound and creativity in itself in its ideation phase. So I would say a quarter of a century next year. So looking at it now, I'm like, 11 years. Okay. Different steps from selling CDs, cassette tapes, floppy disks, t-shirts, just the list goes on and on. Man, what did I do? Just things that were legal, right? Very social friendly, creative. Like, I have to think out the box, try and like see what can I do? Can I make this jigsaw puzzle? Like, just challenge myself. That was really my own thing. And it morphed into this. And today, now I'm able to even kind of do fractional, marketing, which is really dope. And with the marketing, I'm able to, like, with my clients, see, okay, they have somebody on their team and they want to figure out, okay, is this the right person to join her team? So I had to interview two people today, two different companies I interviewed today. That's how I started my day, with interviews. I interviewed two companies, not to work for me, but to work for my client. So I said, okay, let's figure out a way to position it, because she's already working with me, and I want to make sure that her team is solid, so that whoever she's paying, they're not just messing around. Because I saw the proposals, I saw the invoices, I was like, okay, let's talk to them. So the first one, I talked to her very straight up. As soon as we got off the call, she sent me an email like, yeah, this one is very smart. She knows what she's doing. The second one, first of all, her video was off. That was already a flag, red flag. But to me, I'm like, it doesn't really matter. But I'm like, if you're professional, there's some things that you do. If you're going for a job interview and your video is off, do you think you're going to get the job? I don't know. Unless you're a Superman or Wonder Woman, well, we going to see, But that's another thing too, because everybody has their own thing. But at the end of the day, it's subjective, because what speaks out is how you relate, how you talk, how you connect. So the first one was perfect. The second interview, talked to this, and it was a little longer because I really wanted to, like, dive in. And I think Dr. Fashion might really laugh at this one, because I went into their YouTube. So they had a proposal saying that they were gonna give my client about 1,000 views on average on 1,000 views on YouTube on average. And I was like, what? On average, does that mean each video is gonna have 1,000 views? And then in 30 days, so if I do two videos, if I do 8 videos, they're all gonna have 1,000. Like, I was trying to do the math, and the math was not mathing. So I went ahead to now ask her, and I said, okay, let's share your screen. Because let's dive in. Let's see what you've actually done. So we went into one of their accounts, really nice podcast. I won't mention the name. She's really doing well with that show, but it's an American podcast show. But tell me why that. I was like, how much are you spending on ads? They're like, oh, we're spending $4. I'm like, spending $4. You guys are getting 10,000 views. um like, it's not adding up. Like, I got to figure out what the root is. And my client was just watching me dissect the whole thing. It was fun because I don't get to do this all the time. So, because agencies, throw figures on their proposals. So I looked at the proposal, I was like, this is how much they want to charge you. All right, let's see. And the first thing that my client said, even I didn't even have to say it, but my client said it when she left the room, is that for the fact that I had to show her around YouTube to go to the places that I was saying, click here, turn left, no, it's on the right side, click there. That alone was already giving, it was already giving, like, false, that it was just not working. So I was like, this is not right. This is not it. And then I realized that she was like, "Oh yeah, we'll get those thousands of views." I was like, "Okay, why is this one not having thousands of views? This is not having thousands of views." Then I get to notice that about 76% of the audience is in India. So you're running ads, and she didn't really say it. So I was just dissecting things as I was going. And she's like, okay, that means you're running. And I was like, where's your content coming from? External factors to tell me YouTube advertising, 97%. Then organic search, 2%. So I'm like, come on. So that means you're running low cost ads to low competitive countries that you can spend low amounts but get high impressions, and then say, oh, this video got 33 subscribers. Yeah, that's cool, but you have all these videos, it's really doing well, but it's not adding up because you're not making those extensions. So when I talked to her and I said, hey, I don't think this can work, because it looks like you would have to spend more money to actually make these numbers count than save money, and that's not what we're here for. So we said, now. So now what we're doing is we're going to start running billboards in Nigeria. We're going to run billboards, digital billboards on the street in Nigeria. And because she has a YouTube show, we're going to put, like, in Nigeria, when you see those banners, it's like, oh, watch on YouTube. So it's going to be really nice for us to gather leads from there, because the show is for those communities, and it's also for the diaspora too. but that's going to be a great awareness model so that we can actually do billboards and show like the actual cover arts on the billboards in Nigeria. People can scan them, they can go on YouTube, they can watch, they can binge. And now the people who are also working on the back end are now connecting the dots and doing SEO. So I don't even have to do the SEO piece because the person that she's hiring is pretty much scheduling, going on Opus, doing the editing and doing all the things. I'm not doing that. So I'm just directing her on what she needs to do, what tools she needs to use. And that's helping us make the work faster. So those are things that are changing now. The second thing that happened was this is the one that just got me all the way like this was just crazy. Austin, remember when I talked about this company that reached out to me on LinkedIn and wanted to pick my brain for some time? This was I think this was last week.
Okay, I think I'm tracking.
Yeah. So they reached back again today, and I was on a call with them. So, and I'm giving you guys full transparency here. And I think if you listen to this story, if you're listening to this detail, it will also help you know how to handle it and handle your own business when it comes to negotiations, and also like how do you handle things on the go. So I got a call from this company. I won't mention the name just for just professional reasons. This company reached out to me. I love this company. I'm actually excited about this company because they're really nice people. And I'm like, wow, you guys met me from nowhere. And now I've talked to about three of the staff members in 2 days. So I'm like, wow, this is a blessing from LinkedIn. So this company reaches out to me. I check my email. This is on a Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. I check my email. This company wants to pick my brain on AI, and they're because they know I do SEO, and they're like, how is AI going to replace SEO and this kind of stuff? And there's an investor that wants to invest in a company. So I'm like, okay, this investor wants to invest in a company or invest in whatever they're trying to invest in based on AI and marketplace. I'm like, okay, you guys are in San Francisco. I've done your zip code analysis. I'm like, okay, this company is really like out there because companies in California have been reaching out to me, and my podcast's top city is San Jose. So it makes sense. Like, I'm not surprised. So they reach out, and I'm like, okay, let's talk. So the first time a company reached out to me like this was another company, and they were like, name your price. I was like, name your price? What are you guys like? I had to read that email probably 5 times. I was like, did you guys make a typo? What do you mean name your price? I was like, nah, this is you guys, this must be bait. So I had this was my first time ever going through this kind of experience. So I was like, is this a scam? Like, who says that? And then it's an actual professional email. I'm like, nah, this got to be a joke. So I had to go into LinkedIn to be sure that the person is real. And lo and behold, the person is real. So the first time I said, okay, boom, let's do this. I said, okay, it's going to be $1,000 for the hour. They said, no problem. That went through. I said, if you guys ever need anything, let me know. And we've been building a relationship. I forget about it. Now, just last week, another company like this reaches out, and I give them the same price. They're like, oh, I'm like, it's 1,000 for the same amount of time. Because this other company was kind of having a lot more to ask me. This one was asking just one question, but they kind of were trying to sneak in other questions in between. But I was like, I mean, you guys need to let me know your scope because I want to help you as much as you guys need my time, but I also don't want to over give or give you more than you guys are asking for because I also don't want to overwhelm you either. I want to respect that. They're like, okay. So I tell them my price is 1,000 for an hour. These guys are like, no, it's gonna be 150. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And they're like, okay, so what's your price, sir? I'm like, okay, we're gonna do it for 500. They're like, oh, let's do it for 350. I'm like, okay, fine. Since you guys are asking me one question, it's not like you're asking me like 10 different questions. That's fine. Now I was like, "Are you guys gonna just do this one time? Is this like a one hit, just hit and run? Like just want to look for companies, talk to them, and disappear, or are you trying to build relationship?" That was my real question because I'm like, you guys are not about to do this to me because I've been here. So I tell, they're like, no, we actually want to do this on the long term. This is the first call, so you might get more calls. So I'm like, huh, okay. You guys are actually not playing around. Okay. So I'm like, okay, let's do it for 350. So the call was today. This call happened. I loved it. And this is my second time going through this experience. So I'm a little nervous because I'm like, is this real? Is this really, really happening? Yeah, Austin, second time in my whole career happening like this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to a call where we already done everything. It's cool to go. So I get on the call. The call is not even up to 30 minutes. And then they pay me, they send me a link. Oh, thank you for your call. And then they charged me half. So the deal was 350 and they put an invoice for 175. I You see the eyeballs you're giving me, Austin? That's exactly what I was looking at that email. I was like, wait a minute. You guys please don't tell me you guys, because I opened that link. I was like, this must be a joke. So I sent an email back and I said, hey, first of all, I was not talking to you on that call. I was talking to your teammate. And I told your teammate that this is how much it costs. So I actually went below just to make sure we can build a relationship. But you guys are trying to go below the belt. Hey, Cammy. And I'm like, nah, we're not doing that. And I said, you must talk to your associate, talk to whoever. I said the name of the person. I said, talk to her and tell her, give her your notes, whatever the minutes you guys had yesterday, talk about it and let me know. He was like, no. The first email was like, no. Um, you pay, we said this is how much you have for the hour and you did half of it and you're gonna get half of that. It's prorated. That's a policy. I'm like, you guys are playing with me, right? I've given you guys a lot of information that we had an agreement on, and you're not fulfilling it on your side. So I said, okay, bet, let's play this game. So I sent another email. This is today. Oh, I sent another email, and I said, okay, you know what? Let me actually go to the email because I don't want to paraphrase it. I actually want to go to the actual email. So let me open my inbox. Today has been a beautiful day. Let me go to my email. Let me see. Boom. All right. So I get it from this because I usually within those 3 cycles. Yeah. There. Yeah, there he is. Okay. Boom. All right. So he's like, man, he was like, "Hi, Favor. Thanks again. Da-da-da-da-da. I won't tell you how it all goes, but I'll tell you what I said, not what he said. I'll just paraphrase what he said just for security purposes." So he was talking and it was like, "Oh man, you got compensated for the time on the phone. If there was any other like compliance related issue, contact us." I'm like, "You guys, please." I don't have time for this. First of all, y'all came to me. I didn't I didn't look for you. So what's all this about? So I said, okay, let me just keep playing this. And I told him, guys, this is how much you're putting in the link, but this is how much it was supposed to be. You guys gave me 175 to accept the invoice, and the agreement was 350, and you all were already charging me 150. So you guys only added $25 essentially from our initial discussion. So if I was just blind to just say, okay, fine, thank you, click accept, they would have just added $25 on top of their proposed budget, right? So I'm like, y'all, this is crazy stuff, y'all. Like, I don't talk about this. So this is how you know that in business, you have to really know how to have an operating business and a policy and a business procedure. So I write that. He writes back. He's like, at this company, we compensate you for the time on the phone. Your call lasted this, and I paid you. This is your hourly rate. I've updated the invoice, and this is what we're gonna start charging. And because you said this is you do 350 for an hour minimum, for all the future interactions, and apologize for the confusion. I'm like, there's no apology here. You guys need to revise this damn invoice. So I respond back and I'm like, thank you for the clarification, right? But we charge 1,000, but this call was agreed for 350 as the budget. I wasn't informed about the time bound factor. I've informed another member from your team. Like, this is when I went crazy. I said, I've informed another member from your team that it will be an agreed 500 rate for an hour minimum call to avoid confusion. Please advise on this case for you for this call's agreement. Thank you so much. I literally said that at 5:15 p.m. In 3 minutes, he updated the invoice and paid me the money he was supposed to pay at that rate that was agreed on. It took how many emails? One, two, three. I had to send 3 emails. Because if I just said accept, boom, I was like, what's wrong with this guy? And I connected with him on LinkedIn. So I'm like, I can see you, bro. Let's connect. Let's do business. Stop playing. So I connected with him. He didn't even argue with that message because I think he was like, okay, Favor, I don't know who you are, but thank you so much. And connected with him. And yeah, now in their system, it's 500 for the hour. So I'm like, yeah, if we do 30 minutes, that's 250. I don't mind because they do about 7 to 8 projects a day. So you can even imagine how many calls that I'm doing in sequences in a month. So it's like you have to think about the relationship. And this is new to me. It came from LinkedIn because I was like, how did you all find me? They said, oh, we saw your review on Trustpilot for this company when we were looking for it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I talked to the founder of this company. And this company is in California too. So in my head, I'm like, I've just been low key thinking, I'm like, what, one day I might end up just in Cali. That might just be my next point because I have family there too. So it's like, even my number is a Cali number, so I might just, I don't know, we'll see. But it's looking like, companies, my podcast, it's real and people are actually connecting. So another company I'm talking to, they a quiz company. They literally do quizzes, and I can talk about this one because there's really no NDA here. Try Interact. If you've heard of them before, Try Interact. They do polls and really good stuff. So they reached out to me, and they're also in San Francisco, and they said, hey, we want to do a partnership with you. We want to see how you can use your product and use quizzes. And I'm like, what? Okay, bet. So I've already thought about the whole plan, and I'm like, you guys, I'm going to probably bring you to Clubhouse and do a 3-hour paid room. So I'm already planning on those things too, so that they can come ask them questions here. People can sign up, use it while quiz is important, the value of, what people are spending over the holidays. So just bringing more information to more people. So those are the two stories that happened to me today. Ridiculous, but interviewing people and then also being interviewed and also negotiating in business. This is outside client work. This is like admin work. And that also helps us serve clients better because when we go through these experiences, we know better. So it's crazy. These saying bad business. Yeah, those guys, nah, they know me now and they're like, nah, we're not playing that game. So, and then they try to slide in like 4 more companies in the second one. I was like, you guys, if you guys are gonna speak for an hour, if it ends up being 2 hours or an hour and a half, that's what you guys are gonna be paying. So now I know what my rates are. Because I was always trying to figure out, okay, what are my rates? Because people try to ask that question, and I'm like, what do I know, and how much do I know that validates what I know? And when they check my LinkedIn, and now it's at, I think it's 9.8K followers now. I'm just like, now they're looking at it and they're connecting, and my LinkedIn is also building more responsibilities. Somebody's reaching out about help on mid-sized businesses. So I'm like, consulting is one thing I love doing because it gives me my time back and it allows people to start operating. And at the same time, I love helping people because I like to be hands-on. So it's a good hybrid of those two. Austin, if you were in that situation with that I was in, when it comes to the negotiation and somebody did that to you, what would you do?
Man, that is a tough position to be in. I thought you handled it well, Favor. It is it's yeah, it's tough to assume a lot, I guess people could assume a lot from that, like we don't know if they led with malintention to deliver half the rate or to always run calls half the intended length. And it could have been a simple misunderstanding, but at the end of the day, when it's good that you have boundaries and a backbone to really step up and clarify that. uh, you know, yeah, that just does everyone's favors. So, yeah, it's great that they were, saw that, they probably made a mistake, and that they could improve their process. Hopefully, that's not a normal occurrence for them. It does sound kind of shady. It sounds, like some people that's just normal operations. But, like you said, when I know that in business, grandma always said the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I don't think you did anything wrong in speaking up and shooting some emails back, and kind of telling them what was expected. So yeah, so you really got to do that in business. There, kind of everything in writing to a degree. And but yeah, so hopefully that's not a normal thing, and it's sounds like it could be a good reoccurring opportunity if they iron out their operation and communication, and not try and sneak in stuff under the radar.
Yeah, no, they're definitely good people. I love that company. They're really nice. I think it was just that one bad broken telephone, because I can't even blame him, because he probably didn't know, because I didn't talk to him about it. He just knew what he knew. So it's like, sales calls and just operating calls. It's like just extension, did it, like nobody's thinking. Everyone is just on go mode. But I was like, nah, we gotta pause this train. We gotta figure out, slow down, see what's going on before we speed it back up. So that's what I was doing. And that, I think, also allowed me to learn more about them and their operations. And the person I talked to, secondly, ended up sending me the same company. And literally, as I was getting done with this call, I got another company, the same company rather, is now asking me for another interview, which we're scheduling for this week. So I'm literally getting two calls, and they say they have about 7 to 8 in a day, projects wise. So only God knows what's going on, because a lot of companies are doing research, and if I'm a credible source to help other businesses and I can't reach those places investors can, and then my information is helpful to them, and that helps the economy in one way or the other, or helps schools, or kids, whatever it does that's going to impact positively, and I was able to plant that tree, I'm happy. That is joy for me, because I can't help everyone, but I can help someone to pass it along. That's why I do these rooms in this capacity at this length. And people are like, how do you spend all these hours talking all like this? And I'm like, hey, if I don't spend this time, somebody else is. And if I'm doing these things, it's going crazy. I'm looking at my numbers. We just hit 400 episodes in August. We're in the middle of September, and I looked at my numbers, and we have 420 episodes. So I'm 80 episodes away from 500 episodes. My goal is to hit 500 episodes on the podcast to mark the 5-year roundup. So I'm actually putting a challenge on myself, because hitting 500 episodes, that says a lot. Now I'm being guest on other episodes. When I'm a guest on other shows, people can come to my show and they can connect, because they're like, wow, this is a lot of information here. This is a lot of topics. Wow, where have I been? It's literally like FOMO. It's like, whoa, it's like candy now. So those are the things I'm creating, because that way it blends in. I'm sure Dr. Fashion can relate on that too. And when you think of YouTube videos, they bump into one video, boom, another one, boom, another one. Before you know it, you're a fan, or you're just somebody who learns or loves to learn from that person because of the way they teach. People like how people teach because of different styles, right? So it's just different. I think for me, I honestly, I was thinking about it, I was like, wait, I don't have a script. I don't like you can there's no clubhouse room, no podcast room, no interview unless it was given to me that I have questions. I just have topics. Like this whole week, we have topics. This week have topics. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central, we're talking about web pages versus social media pages versus landing pages. On Wednesday at 8 a.m. Central, we're talking about LinkedIn company profiles, how to optimize pages for SEO. On September 26th. When is that? That's a Thursday, I believe. Yeah. We're talking about our websites relevant for 2025 and how do I secure my data, right? And then on Friday, marketing versus email marketing versus billboard marketing. Especially the billboard marketing piece is starting to be very interesting, because if you're on a billboard, imagine what that can do for your brand, especially if people want to connect with you and you're local, and they want to, they can access you. They can drive to you. It's a beautiful thing. Being on a billboard is kind of like a statement because it's not easy to be on a billboard. If you're on a Times Square billboard, you're gonna take a picture in front of it. You're gonna feel like, wow, yeah. You don't see a billboard. You don't see yourself on a billboard every day. Not everyone sees themselves on a billboard or their business. You can have a signage, you know, but a billboard is different. It hits different. So imagine you have taken your time to build, you build to build, and then you now advertise your business, and then that business becomes a place where people can actually connect with you, right? Welcome, Soda. Welcome, Maha. And Cami, hope you're good too. Thanks for joining. You know, these are things that you have to look at, right? You have to see the value. And why are they important? That's the real question. Why are backlinks important? Backlinks are important because I've said it at the beginning of this room, they're the backbone to your business, right? They're also important because it tells a little bit of a story about what your business is, right? It tells us this is what your business can do, this is what your business is made of, and this is how your business operates. So if you can operate that way and those backlinks tell us, oh, you're on Yellow Pages, you're on Alexa, you're on Apple, you're on Spotify, it tells me, oh, you have a podcast or you have a local business. Like it rings bells, right? It strings in things. So these are things that you want to definitely do. So yes, Cami, please, we'd love to hear from you before you go. What are your thoughts? Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Favor. No, this is great. I'm just sitting back and listening. I mean, your rooms are always very informative, very engaging. Um, you're always on the cutting edge. So I'm just sitting back and soaking it all up. I'm surprised to see you here on the evening because typically you're on in the mornings, but I was excited to see your room in the hallway. So that's why I hopped on. But thank you for continuing to share your information within the marketing space, which is ever evolving. I'm excited to see, all the topics that you have coming up. I was just in a room on Fanbase because sometimes I frequent that app, even though I'm not on there as much as Clubhouse. And there was a woman on there talking about Web3 as well as the metaverse and how people can transition whatever their subject matter expertise is in that world. She was even talking about the top industries, which is construction and architecture and also finances within the metaverse as it relates to like cryptocurrency, but also construction, which surprised me, but also made sense when she was talking about it, and that a lot of people are starting to invest in virtual buildings and stuff. So I was asking her, what does she see for those who are within like the marketing, business, finance, media space, and she had no thoughts on it just yet, but she's going to be running more rooms like that. But excited to be in your room as always. And with that, I'm going to sit back and listen before I hop on this call.
Thank you. Thank you, Cami. Yeah, Web3 is a big thing, and I've told people about it too. I haven't really talked about it much, but that's something I'm doing a research in, and it's good for people to know what that's doing for the future. This is backlinks. Backlinks are huge, huge. Because if you don't have the right backlinks, welcome Renee. If you don't have the right backlinks, you can't connect to the right people, right? That's why when they say claim your business on Google, claim your website on Pinterest, claim your YouTube, claim your podcast, you're claiming things because you are actually connecting those things, right? You are creating a section of allowing people to build, right? And that building is going to take you to the next level because now it's not just about what you're saying, it's how people are receiving those things, right? And when people are receiving those things in chunks, you don't know what those things are doing for your business long term, right? And that branding is huge, especially when you think about the long term effect of it. Welcome, Supermom. you have that response. I was seeing you on LinkedIn. I was like, oh, she jumped in. I was literally going into LinkedIn. How are you? Good evening.
I'm good. Yeah, I was trying to answer some of my notifications, so it's good to see you. And I'm in listening mode because this is definitely not my area of expertise. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Cammy, did you want to say something or you were saying hi?
No, I was just saying hi. Hey,
Hey,
Lachelle.
Cammy. Have y'all met up yet in Houston?
No,
Not
not yet.
yet. We got to. Cammy, we got to for sure. We got to. I'm gonna make that yeah, I'll make sure it happens because this is the second time it's happening. So yeah, I'll make sure for sure. No, thank you. This is important, guys. It's so important to look at because I think the major factor here that we are, looking at is how can we make our content better? Because you also want to become a backlink. I don't know if that makes sense. You want to become a backlink one day. Welcome, Paris. Why do you want to become a backlink? You want to become a backlink because you want to become an authority to someone else. In other words, if somebody's writing an article and they reference you, then that's a good thing, right? Thanks, Renee and Supermom. You have to think about those things because if you're talking about, commercial products like 5 tools to use for better productivity and you write those 5 brands, that's going to happen. It happened to me. I wrote an article in 2022. 2022 about like I think I wrote about, yeah, five, what was it? 5 marketing tools to use. Yeah, I think it was like 5 marketing tools. And I gave 5 of them, and it was a commercial article. Then, like 6 months later, another company emailed me and said, hey, we found your article on the web when we're searching, and they pasted the article link in the email. That's when I knew these guys are not playing. I was like, you guys actually pasted the link of the article I wrote 2 years ago. Okay. So they pasted in, they're like, we'd like to add our own tool to this link. Is it possible? I was like, what? Like, these are new things that were happening. But at the same time, I already expected them because I already know that's what happens. So I think it's surprising when it happens to you, and it's not something you're planning for. It's just something you just actively do. And then you passively get. So I said, okay, let's do this. And I said, if I'm gonna do this, then probably I need to have some type of access to this. So they gave me 12 months access to the platform. But I'm like, you guys have 12 months, I have 12 months access, but you guys have lifetime access. So it's another thing with the company story that I talked about earlier. It's like these companies, they know what they want. And if you're not corporately responsible or corporately, you know, tactical, then they could just throw you around. And you don't want that, especially when you have authority online. So you have to figure out how that connects. But when you write articles and then those articles become extensions, that's how it helps you. Now there's a company that has reached out to me and they're in San Francisco wanting to do stuff with quizzes. So now I'm like, okay, we're going to get on a call this Wednesday. When's Wednesday? Wednesday is in 2 days. Yeah, we're going to get on a call and I'm going to tell them the plans I have. I'll listen to what they have because they reached out first. So I want to know what's on their mind. And then when they're done speaking, I'll speak mine and we'll come to a medium and see. I think it's because somebody was asking me, yeah, one of my teammates was asking me, he was asking me, Favor, how do you handle conflict? Because he's like, you're so calm when there's a fire. You don't shout. Like, because he's seen me in like some states. It's like, damn, Favor, you don't even flinch. I'm like, yeah, that's just my nature. I'm very quiet. I'm like a quiet storm. Like, I'm very quiet. I'm very observant. I'm watching, and when it's time to hit home, it hits hard. So he asked me that question, and I was like, the reason why is because technically I studied it too because I did communications and media undergraduate and I also did a peace and conflict, undergraduate. So I did that as a minor and that allowed me to, learn how to actually deal with peace and conflict, like negotiations. And I did entertainment business in my, graduate program, and an entertainment and a business admin graduate. So two masters on that. And I'm like, okay, I've learned those two tactics, but it stemmed from the, the concept. Those are things that you want to be able to do. So yeah, that falls right in. Yes, Austin.
Hey, just wanted to say thanks so much. I'm heading out, but always love the content in your rooms and appreciate everything you do for the community
Thank
here.
you, Austin. Appreciate you so much. Always a pleasure having you here. Yeah, guys. So those are the concepts that I got to pick up. So just learning from peace and conflict allowed me to know how to handle it. So when I have, fires to put out, hey Julie, when I have those fires to put out, I'm able to put them out easily because it feels like I'm actually comfortable in expressing how I feel and doing it in a professional way that makes it easy for them to understand where we're trying to go. Because sometimes some clients don't want to hear it. And I'm like, you guys, this is it. Like, just literally this evening, I'm so happy that it's happened. Now, a client that we're working with, she does hair. She's a hairstylist, and she does it for like celebrities, and she does it in Atlanta, and she does it really well. So we're rebuilding her website, and she has a podcast attached to it. And the person that built the podcast for her put her email address instead of the owner's, which is my client. So I'm like, we're trying to claim the account. This is why I would talk about backlinks, right? So this is why this story is important too. I was trying to get the client to tell her teammate to put her email instead of the person that's helping her in the RSS feed email, because when you have an RSS feed, it has an authentication code, and that authentication code is your email, right? Your email address. So if you have a email address attached to your podcast, that podcast has an address. Just the same way your domain has an address, it has a link. The same thing applies to your email, because you get an email after you get a domain, especially if it's a working domain, right? Or a work email. So I'm just like, okay, let's get this email through. Let us connect these dots, and let's get more people to be able to see this. So I look at this email, and I'm like, we have to make sure this email is secure. So as we're securing the email, we're also securing the data, right? So when we're creating this for this client, we're like, okay, if we're going to secure this data, then every podcast episode that is being released has to be connected to this email. Because when you send an email to your community, it's coming from a mailbox. That's why you buy a mailbox. It's digital, but the mailbox, you're paying $6 a month, whatever the price is, that's a mailbox you're paying for. So if that mailbox is not mailing, right, and that mailbox is not getting you the return on investment, because you have a mailbox to receive information, right? That's why you have a mailbox. Residential, commercial, you have a mailbox. You have an address. So that mailbox is allowing you to receive information. So if you can't receive information, where does information fall? On the wayside, right? And you don't want that. So if you want that, you have to make sure it's falling right in. So my client now tells her to change the email address. It takes us almost a month and a half. It was finally done today. I was like, thank God, because I was like, why is this person being so adamant about keeping an email address on an RSS feed that they don't own? Are they trying to control it? So that's when I knew that some companies like to control, agencies like to control, you know, information, and, gatekeep it. So when you maybe stop the contract, you now have to have a buyout clause. So many things happen. Like, I think when you're in the industry for a while, you see a lot. Like, you see a lot of things that you're no longer just your eyes are no longer fresh. They've gone through a lot of things. They've seen things, so when you scale back and you're able to know how that positions you out there, it makes it easier for you. Because if you have a website, you have a podcast, you have an email, you have a community, you're running ads, the ads you're running them to is back to your website. You're not going to run ads and send them to your YouTube channel. You'll send them to your website so they can join the wait list, so that they can get your YouTube newsfeed. So the thought is different. The action is different. The backlink is different. So those are the different things that you can start doing, to start creating, connections for yourself. So it's not just about building content. Welcome, Roderick and Claudia and Carolyn. It's not just creating content for content's sake. You have to create content that allows people to connect. Create content with context so that you can connect with the people who are responding to your call. Because everyone has a call to action online. You know how many rooms are on Clubhouse active right now? You know how many rooms are on Chatter? How many rooms are on Fanbase? How many rooms are on LinkedIn? Rooms on Twitter X? Rooms in Reddit? There are rooms everywhere. You can be anywhere. But where you focus your time on and what you're learning is what's going to help you grow. Because backlinks sound like territories. That's what I feel like. It sounds like territories. Backlinks. Backlinks. What is a backlink? It's literally a backlink is exactly what it is. It's a link sending you back to your site. Reverse it. Like, just literally reverse the text. It's a backlink. It links back. It's literally that. If there's nothing you didn't get from this room, that's it. Because when you link back, you're linking back to authority. You're linking to a page. You're linking to a story. You're linking to a person. If you have this article about this, the more you're able to see this, it goes deep and deep and deep. So if you have internal links and external links supporting your backlinks, then you have more page authority because you have higher domain authority, right? If you have a house and your house has a pool table, that the pool table is that specific one thing contextually that makes your house different because you have something that can add value to someone coming to your house. Oh, you have a bar, we can hang out by there. Or you have a pool, or you have a backyard that we can actually connect. Oh, okay. Those are things that people don't expect because they don't see what's in your house. That's an internal link. They have to come in to see that. If you're really best friends and you can walk into my closet, we can actually connect. We can go, chill by the wayside and chill, do whatever we got to do. If it's by the park, if it's by the gym, it's cool because it's a vibe, right? So if you have those backlinks and you talk about things consistently to the point where people actually find you and want to email you and connect with you, it means you're doing something out there. Sometimes we look at these backlinks and we're like, oh, we need backlinks, backlinks, backlinks. What we need are people. The people will bring the backlinks. Don't look for the backlinks, look for the people because people buy backlinks. And the more backlinks you buy, instead of buying time or spending time or investing time into creating time for people, then that's where the difference comes in when you really want to know how important your links are to them. And that's when the tide changes. So I'm glad we're talking about this. Renee and Julie in the room. Good evening. How y'all doing? Welcome.
Hello. My least favorite topic in SEO, backlinks. But it's a necessary evil, right? It is very important to being found. Just everything you said, I love it. I did want to just add, since I came in a little late, you may have already talked about this, so excuse if it's a repeat, but I think some new people came in. With regards to I love what you said. You said become a backlink. I love it. BAB, become a backlink. I am going to remember that. That is your goal, to create such good content that people want to link to it. That's it. You talk to John Mueller, the mouthpiece for Google search. Like, he's like our SEO patriarch. And one time he was asked, I can't find the video anywhere, or I wish I could find it. I think they took it away. It was just, he answers questions every week, and somebody asked John Mueller, uh, talk about Google's backlink process. And he goes, well, there is none. Google does not, you can't find Google talking about backlinks. You just cannot find it. And there's a reason for it. And I'll tell you that in a second. But what he said, he goes, oh, wait, what do you mean? He goes, if you're talking about build really good content, that it's so good that people want to link to it. If you're talking about that's what we think you should be doing, that's our backlink strategy, then okay, then that's our backlink strategy. But the reason they don't advocate going after backlinks outwardly and aggressively is because people do it the wrong way. They go out there and they start trading. I'll trade yours for mine, and your best friend's business is jewelry, and you're an acupuncturist, and you say, "I'll link to you if you link to mine." Well, there's something called topical authority. You're not the same topics. Now, if Favor and I link to each other, it would make a lot of sense because I have my marketing agency and Favor has a marketing agency. So if we found a way to link to each other's articles, like, oh, I like how you said this, I'm going to link to your article. That would be great. Oh, and something to do when you're doing that with your friends, what you want to do is you want to, where you're linking from, those words in your article that I'm going to link to Favor, I'm going to go to Favor and I'm going to say, what keywords do you want me to link from on my page? Where do you want me to put that hyperlink? Because I'm sending a message to Google that when what Favor wants his page to show up as. Now, I can actually go to his meta title and his description and his H1, and I can discern by reading it what his keyword is because it'll be prevalent in all three of those places most likely. But if you have a friend that says, I really want this page, I'm like hovering at page 2, number 11, 12, or 13 in the search, and I just really want it to have a bump up to page 1. You can say, okay, what keyword do you want me? I'll go find an article that I've already written, or I'm in the process of writing one, and I'll find a way to link to you, buddy. Well, I'll do this. And those are good backlinks, and those are friends working together. And I have no problem with that kind of backlinking. So that's my first thought. And if I may go into a second thought, I really do think that a lot of local businesses need to buy, I'm doing air quotes, and you really are buying it, but you're buying 2 backlinks that I think are 2 of the best that you can buy. The one is the Better Business Bureau. Now, hold on, hold on. I do think it is kind of like white collar extortion a little bit, but also the Chamber of Commerce. And the reason being, say they're each 500 if you're in a small to mid-sized area, say it's $500 each. I can tell you that over time, those backlinks coming, these websites are so highly rated, their domain authority is probably 70, 80, 90 out of 100. Those are good backlinks. So you're literally paying to be in their directory, and then they are sending you business back, and you want to make sure that is a do follow link. It could be a link to your site, but it needs to be a do follow or it's worthless. I can't imagine that it wouldn't be a do follow, but Favor, maybe you have some input on that. But the Chamber of Commerce, great authority coming to you. And the Better Business Bureau, I'm not a fan of the program because anybody can buy their way out of bad reviews, meaning buy out by just answering all the questions. It's just so ridiculous. It really is. But that backlink, totally worth it. If you're like a jewelry store, that could be a good one because am I buying reputable jewelry? If you are a acupuncturist, again, that would be a good one. But it just doesn't matter. Those are the 2 backlinks that I usually recommend. They have more value than even $1,000 worth of ads. If you would buy really good search ads, and you got just say $1 a click and you got 1,000 clicks, I still think um, you're way ahead by getting those backlinks. Okay, that's it. That's my soliloquy, and I have my whitening strips in right now. So if you hear me lisping a little bit, that's because I got my teeth whitener in. So I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No worry. Thank you so much for that, Renee. I appreciate that. That's gold. That's really gold. When you have your connections on those platforms, it shows that you really want to connect your brand to another brand because it's market share. We think about the word market share and we think too deep. It's sharing the market. It's what do you have? What do I have? It used to be barter trade, right? You have cows, I have goats, you have chicken, I have eggs, let's trade. That kind of thing. It's very it's simple, but I think also when we look at the factors we're bringing in, the value we're adding, the questions we're answering, then more people get to experience it, and then you're like, wow, this thing I didn't think it's gonna make any sense, but people actually love wallpapers. People love, music reviews. People like unboxing. People like things you don't even think about. People like ASMR. People like things like those that you don't even know. But if you just add those things into your catalog, it can change so much. Lo-fi music, like things that you don't even think about, but they really change everything. So thank you so much for that, Renee. Julie, we'd love to hear from you. How are you?
Well, now I'm embarrassed after Renee. I mean, I'm just a baby backlinker, but I love that because I honestly like, I'm like, oh, the Chamber of Commerce. Like, it's just a nothing, nothing. But I never thought of it for backlinks. So that's great advice. And now I'm just like, my brain's mush because I thought I had something to say. And then you and Renee talked. But I would say if you don't understand backlinks, check Ranker, see what your backlinks are doing. And again, domain authority is huge. Like, I'd never thought of the Chamber or the Better Business Bureau. I find a lot of luck for me. Number one, writing for Entrepreneur Magazine. For, of course, LinkedIn is if you don't have LinkedIn, like stop right now, jump off of this app and get yourself a LinkedIn profile. What else is really good? Those are the two. Oh, medium.com, blogging. If you're not blogging, you're not doing SEO. So repurpose everything totally with on medium.com. That is my biggest thing. But I'm a baby backlinker apparently. Like I'm just like, whoa, why am I on stage? Which I do. But I love learning because I think it's so important for us to learn together. And I appreciate you, everybody. Thanks, Cami, Renee, is that America's, wait, America's Supermom is here? Holy cow, I haven't talked to her in so long. Hey, girl, hey. Take care of those babies. I'm doing laundry. Okay, thanks, guys.
Love you, Julie.
Look, I'm not even a baby, okay, on the topic. So I'm in here taking some notes.
Are you in utero right now? You're like in utero
Yeah, that's what.
backlinker?
Yeah.
That's amazing, yo. Wow. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
love this
Thank you for
stuff.
being
And
here.
when Renee said she hates like this, I don't know why. Like my brain just goes crazy when people talk about this stuff. When you guys like, I'm so fascinated, and I have no idea why. Because probably to
I
most of the public, it's so like
I
boring or
just
something.
don't like the I don't like the I'll tell you why. Let me tell you a little bit of history here. Because there was a time when Google wasn't hadn't figured out about they allowed linking to be a thing and create relationships between websites to help figure out which websites were good. Okay, Google was in its infancy, so it really depended on backlinks, and then people took advantage of it, like it always happens, right? Marketers ruin everything. That's our saying. Something good was there, and then people took advantage of it, and it went in the toilet. So then with the algorithm updates, it really slammed people with bad backlinks. But now it's right correcting itself and fixing itself because it is looking for that topical authority thing. You can't just go link to something and that website has nothing to do. So it's fixing itself. And but trying to get backlinks in the wedding industry, you think that would be easy because they're all on the same topic, but you write to someone and you say, hey, I would like to backlink to you, and you're kind of like asking for a backlink back. You kind of like, and you have to explain to them, they don't understand what you're asking them to do. Wait, what do we do? Like getting backlinks can be super expensive to get people to link to you. Hey, I wrote an article. Here, I've included your name. Maybe you want to link to me. But guess what? They don't link to you because you also linked somebody they don't like in that article, or they're your competitors in it, or they don't know what you're talking about. And it's so labor intensive to find backlinks. So I guess with all the other fun things to do and all the other low hanging fruit that's out there with SEO, because SEO would probably be my specialty, but we do so many things with our clients. But I think that's why, Julie. I just think I'm just jaded over it. And I love that you're excited about it because I'll try and take your energy and live off of it because I definitely need it. It's just this not my favorite topic, but I came in because I know Favor could get me excited about it and I'd learn something just like you. We're never done learning at all.
Oh yeah, totally. It's a huge game changer when you see backlinks differently. And I think the perfect backlink website that does it perfectly is LinkedIn. It's literally linked in. So if you link your link on LinkedIn to another link and refer that link to your previous link, then you create a whole LinkedIn machine because people don't get to see all your posts every time. So the ones that are relevant, you can keep them in the footer of your caption or the caption, the footer of your post. And then when you use emojis, line breakers, those things can really help you. And then you use branded keywords in the title of your newsletters because those titles become URLs, which is uniform resource locators. So those locators locate filters based on search when engines are looking for information that you provide as a page authoritative. So when you have organic and use paid, and then they shared and earned media, then you have a whole quadrant of really good machinery that can really keep you upscale and sustain your business on that Pareto principle, that 80/20. So that's really good that we're talking about, backlinks. So it's not scary. I think it's just fun, but I think it's where to start that really gets us going. So thank you so much for that. Marcus is in the building. What's up, man? Thanks for joining today and love your PTR too. Love to connect. What is your topic thought of the day?
Yeah, what's going on, man? Happy Monday. What's backlinks? So when I hear or see the word backlinks, the first website I think about is the Hoth, HOTH. On our website meetings, that was one of those platforms we would create our blogs and then send them over to the Hoth, and they would publish them on other sites that already had the high ranking SEO. So instead of us having to work to be seen as far as SEO rankings go strictly from our branded or company website, we were able to use some of those other leaders when it comes to certain industries that already had the website. I guess what is it called, like the rankings and all that. So you brought up LinkedIn. I like Eventbrite too. So for entrepreneurs, you got an event, LinkedIn and in both Eventbrite, you can kind of use those platforms that already did the work for you, that already are high ranking on the SEOs, and people type in and search certain words, they'll find your blog and accidentally uh, stumble into your product and buy you something. So um, aside from that, I like what you said about LinkedIn. I think a lot of people sleep on LinkedIn. We're not using LinkedIn to the best of our ability, but I'm going to. So appreciate that input.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, it's a big thing. LinkedIn is one place. If you have a YouTube channel, a podcast, a book, a show, a store, a business, it doesn't have to be a brick and mortar. It could be virtual address based, and you have that information on LinkedIn and you have a website linking back. That is a great place for you even to create a newsletter for your company, do community news, acquire leads. You can actually get leads from your LinkedIn and set it up so that people tap in and, leave their information with you.
In
Because when
favor,
you're,
we,
yes,
we, we
sir.
were just talking about CRMs and how important CRMs are, and lead generation and the whole nine. And a lot of people are still working on newsletters when it comes to speaking to their customer list, when most people should be working on blogs versus newsletters. So if you still focus on newsletters for your customer list, you only get like the basic newsletter results from the people that's already on your list. But if you create blogs, then the blogs can turn into dollars because not only are you speaking to people that's on your customer list, but you get a chance to talk to those people that just accidentally stumbling up on your site or your brand or whatever product or industry you're leading when you're creating that blog. and then it just magically turned into dollars. Like right now for Halloween, it's October. So October 1st is real. It gets kind of slow up until like Black Friday for some retail stores, but we celebrate all the holidays with our customers, and we got Halloween blogs going out. And just last year, I was looking at our Klaviyo account. We did $11,000 off a Happy Halloween blog, and so that was just something that we put out prior to Halloween, letting everybody know like, hey, come get your Halloween hair or product here, and it turned into dollars. So blogs over newsletters. I want to throw that part in there. Blogs over newsletters.
Oh yeah, totally. Blogs over newsletters, because newsletters are bulletins. It's like quick hits. It's like, hey, check this out, it's listicles. And I see some people that use LinkedIn, and sometimes I unsubscribe from their newsletters because I'm just like, if I could read this on your website, you'd actually be happier than me reading it on an email from a LinkedIn send off. So if you are writing a 1,000-word article, putting it on LinkedIn, I would put a quarter of that as a newsletter, put the three-quarter, the rest of them on your website, link them into that so that on your website, you have both a LinkedIn referring post and an actual website with contextual information. And then if you're using LinkedIn in the newsletter, embed your YouTube post, your podcast. Right now, what I'm using is Listen Notes, because if somebody's listening to my podcast on Listen Notes, and it's embedded, they can actually go in there and listen, and connect. And then at the same time, the website is also attached. So you can actually listen to it for, quick listen, easy listen, like listen to this NPR article. It's right there for you to hit the play button. Or you can maybe do a more sophisticated step procedure and go into actually connect with the brand and leave your contact information there. That way you get first party data, because first party data in 2024 is the biggest thing, and it's missed opportunity when you can't collect that data. If you send everybody on an email list and you send them to YouTube, great. After they watch your video, they're going to watch somebody else's video. But if you send that same video on your web page, right? Then you're getting that first party data, you're getting those analytics, you're getting that behavior, you're getting customer relationship, you're getting all those consumer behavior. And if you have a heat map on your website, even better. You get to know how far do people scroll. Do they go up? Do they stay at the top? Do they move left? Does the mouse move right? Those things allow you to really know what's going on, so that when you now get those emails and those feedbacks from people, you're connecting with them, because brands want to connect with you, right? So if a brand is calling you to pick your brain for an hour and you're charging them for your time, that's a thing. It's happened to me already today, twice. And it's like, I don't even look anymore. They just email on LinkedIn. They want to be guests on the podcast. Like, I stopped looking for guests. I stopped looking for prospects, because I'm just here serving, giving you my time. But God is blessing me in immeasurable ways that I'm able to get it back over, because I'm helping communities, churches, communities, businesses, small businesses, local businesses, and it's just a matter of time that people get to see that if you are in the right space at the right time, positioning equals to sales. If that button is on the left side compared to the right side, if that button is green compared to red, if that text is bold compared to underlined, those things, it's HTML. It's hypertext markup language. It's language. We got to communicate. If we can't communicate, we can't relate. It's the 101. It's the basic formula.
Favor,
We
what are you using, bro, for when it comes to like, the whole heat map side of things? And I know Crazy Egg, Hotjar. Is there anything new that everybody's using now aside from those two?
So there is Hotjar. I use Hotjar too. Hello Bar is great, for those top, spots. And you also talked about the Hoth, which is good. The white label is really good. So I use the Screaming Frog as well, that you can also use. And these are platforms that, at least give you insight and intel on, what you can really do with your content, especially when it comes to depth. Because the depth is something that if you can really know what the scroll depth is, it goes beyond. Because if you really think about it, you're on the internet. And you being on the internet doesn't only mean Apple iPhone. It also means Linux. It also means Windows. It also means uh, Huawei. It also means Google Pixel. It also means Samsung. It also means screen resolution, iOS. Those are things that people look at. So if you're picking up on those information pieces on your heat map, like Screaming Frog, like Hotjar, those things allow you to really see, okay, where like what is screaming at you at the top of the search. What are you putting up there? That's why when people have emails, people start off with putting banners at the top, because not everyone's going to go to the bottom of your email to read it, right? Some people just read the title, they open your email, they don't even scroll down. But if you tell them to scroll down in the preview text and tell them there's something for you in the bottom of the email, guess what? They're going to scroll down. So that scroll depth becomes more explicit. It becomes more intentional. It becomes more relatable because it was mentioned. People just think, oh, they're just going to assume and scroll down. No, you have to tell them, look down or look up. Those are things that you have to say. Marketing is messaging. If the message is wrong, the market is wrong. If the market is wrong, the whole house is down. Nobody's really relating. It's like we're all speaking different languages and we're not understanding each other. It's like the Tower of Babel. Like we're not talking to each other. We're just talking at each other. So we need to relate. We need to communicate. We need to build that language. So yeah, Marcus, if those two platforms really work out, it can really give you an informational depth of field that even when you're writing your articles, you know what to say first, you know what to place first. When you look at your top pages, you know why they're top. Is it because you had a quote in the beginning, or because some things were able to give you more accuracy over time? So those are some things that I look at, when you're considering those different options.
Yeah, and then of course you can specifically ask ChatGPT for like high ranking ACO keywords or short tail keywords, long tail keywords, all those different things specifically. And then I see a lot of people still, it's like going viral with a meme. So when memes first came out, people would just create an amazing meme and then the meme would go viral, right? It'd be all over the net. But then people started realizing that you need a call to action with the meme, and you need a call to action with the content. You don't want to just have a hit and then they not be able to listen to more or see more or call back to you. When people first started writing blogs, they didn't really have a lot of call to actions. And I suggest having three different call to actions because everybody that's reading your blog may not, your one call to action may not resonate with them. So if you got like more than one different call to action, you'll be surprised like how many more leads you'll get from their blog or how many more customers you'll get from their blog because everybody's not going to respond to the subscribe to my newsletter. You know what I'm saying? They might need something else. You might need to say something else that's going to resonate with the readers and stuff. So I have a lot of fun, Favor, like making bread online and collecting all this data and transforming it into dollars. Like whether you transforming followers into dollars or data and then to the dollars, no matter what, once you start working on the backlink side, life gets a lot easier for you because the customers somehow, some way start finding you. You don't have to work as hard. You get to save a couple of dollars when you got the right backlink strategies in place. And a lot of people that don't understand backlinks and they're still kind of learning how to implement them into their business. The faster you do it, the more money you'll make. So but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nah, thank you so much for that. It's big. Kicked off the room by saying your backlinks, it's the backbone to your business. It's the backbone. If you don't have backlinks and you're not becoming a backlink, it's either you're a podcast host or your podcast guest. It's either you are a backlink or someone's linking back to you. Like it gotta be a binary code, zeros and ones. What we gotta make that formula count. Some people say, oh, it's too much. Like it can be too much if you know what you're investing. If you're buying a house, if you're buying a car, if you're buying a trust fund, if you're paying for things, you know the value of those things, right? Because you know the stock, the equity, the value. So when you say it's too much, then it's too much for you because you probably don't know how much you're missing on the opportunity. Like when this room started, we were talking about broken links, right? Brian was here earlier and we talked about broken links. When you have a broken link on your website, it means that it's if you have a broken leg or a broken wrist or a broken toe, or broken arm, God forbid, right? You can't really function. So when you have a broken link, is you're hurting your website because you have something that is not, it's not going in. It's a 404 error. Like anytime Google sees your page, this is what happens. You don't want that, because that is exactly the opposite of what you're showing up online for. So if you can flip that script, change that narrative and focus on investing in the right thing, then the right person will come. The right people will come. I don't look for these things. I talked about it earlier today with LinkedIn. A company reached out to me, paying me for my time, and like now we have a relationship because they want to learn about AI and marketing. Another company reached out to me on LinkedIn. They want to have me on their podcast show. Another company like Honeybook, have reached out to me, and now I'm working with them. Flowdesk, the company I'm working, CRM company. Now I'm talking to their community manager, trying to make sure we can do some deals before October 4th, because we're actually getting to the end of the year and we want to get more people to have these products. A company in San Francisco reached out to me on Sunday. These are companies I don't even have time to be Googling these companies. But because I'm on LinkedIn, because there's a podcast, there's a website, there's data, there's information, there's concept, there's theory, there's practical, then what evidence should I give you that is not already available to you? So these are the things that are happening in real time. Marcus, let's talk about it. And
Yeah,
welcome,
see,
Dr. Alicia.
Favor, the thing is, once you got the juice, you got the juice, man. You know what I'm saying? Once you understand these strategies when it comes to like the data and the CRMs and the automation, everybody needs the same principles and strategies implemented in their business. And it's not like a set it and forget it type thing. Like you need to do this for the rest of your life. No matter what industry you in, if you're a creator, if you got a business, you got a brand, you got to do everything that we're talking about at some point in time to get some of the money. Nobody gonna get all the money because nobody's gonna market the exact same way. But depending on how you market, go determine the results that you get. And I want to ask because what you said on the backlink side, you can beat a backlink or you can you become it. A lot of us we create these amazing blogs and then because we haven't paid Google the amount of money that Eventbrite has paid or LinkedIn has paid to be seen at the top of the Google search, we then can backlink, be backlinked from their pages and stuff like that. So that's how you kind of pay for some of that leasing space. It's like paying for space in a grocery store. You're just kind of paying for some of this space, but on the backlink, so how do you become the backlink? Because with she'shappyhair.com, I'm sure it's a lot of stylists that just be creating blogs. They might have an opinion on this and that. I wouldn't mind them just, sending me some blogs that, I could probably start posting on my website and become that go-to site and the leader in the industry. But what do you think, Favor? Because most people don't want try to become the backlink spot where people are sending the backlinks. We normally just create the blogs from our website, send them from there, but not really like tell everybody send us all your blogs and we'll post them from here. What do you think about that?
Yeah, there are two ways you can go about it. And definitely, Marcus, we gotta talk, because like the ideas you got, because I've been seeing your brand, She's Happy Here. I've been seeing it on my feed. The first time you said it, I didn't know it was you because you were talking in a room, and I was like, I keep seeing this on my feed. And then when I knew it was you, I was like, okay, bet. This thing is fire, because the way you're doing it is so dynamic, and it's also allowing a lot of people to, first of all, you're really smart with using sentimental value for the business, because when you say she's happy, when a woman's happy with her hair, that's it. The game over. Like, just count it a great day. You know what I mean? So you're using the happy part to give people that sentimental value of, that's the promise, that's the brand promise you're giving. So if that's a brand promise, then how do you make more women smile with their hair when they're happy? By creating commercial content that allows them to compare brands, and then you become the standing brand. So let's say this Brazilian, you know, hair, for example, and then there is Peruvian hair, right? Or there's, I'm just giving a random example. Now, when you do like commercial articles that talk about the top 10 Peruvian brands, in history, for example, and then you have those top 10, whoever those vendors are, because you highlighted one of their businesses, they're able to connect with you and say, because you're actually connecting, that allows them to still feel like, okay, this brand is actually adding to the share of voice, because it's something called share of voice, when it comes to like Alexa, Siri, Cortana, with voice search optimization. So just by doing those things alone gives you that longevity, because when you now start, commercially putting other brands with your brand, even though, yes, you don't want to talk about other brands because it's kind of like you're giving them you're giving them your audience, which is, I'll call it redundant, or I'll call it retrogressive, but in actual fact, it's not possessive, it's attractive, because that attraction marketing that you're doing, if I tell you go left, go right, go left, go right, you'll remember me first before the second person you talk to, because the first person gave you the first result. So like TMZ or CNN or Forbes, you heard it first from this news station. So if you ever made any other station, you're going to fact check them based on the first information you heard. So if you are the authority and you're now creating content, then whoever is checking out for hair that you provide, then those articles become places that you can actually have display advertising segments for them to now sponsor your blog. And then you can use that as advertising to now market their businesses if they're in those local zip codes. So it's really a spyware to it. And you can really, dig into that a little bit deeper. And I know Renee as well is good on this too. Would you want to add something as well, Renee?
Oh, shoot, I heard my name. I was distracted for a minute. I'm sorry. Did you say something super awesome and I missed it? Dang, somebody was slacking me. I am so sorry.
Renee. No, this, I think with that, that should definitely give you like an idea of really where that could take you to. Like, what's the common denominator? And I think if you can use that, and then your articles build on each other, like they now become an extension of each other, it just changes the game completely, because now you're working with data, you're working with pages, you're working with people, and you're working with consumer behavior. So that heat map now allows you to know, okay, people, like if you're charging a brand X, at the top of the feed, they're going to pay more than you're charging the person at the bottom of the feed, because 80% of your audience is going to stay for 5 more seconds on top, because you have a 50%, page depth. So when you start looking at those numbers more, symmetrically, then it becomes really a tactical factor that you can even play chess with and give, businesses opportunities to connect with you further. So we'd love to talk to you about it, Marcus, for sure.
We locked in, bro. I think we had connected on the back end. But either way, if you don't have any, we definitely need to go and exchange. I think we connected on IG, and we do a lot online. We've been in business since 2012, bro. So one of the things I'm doing is teaching these data strategies. All the CRM strategies, all the principles, and even for Black Friday, like Black Friday rolling around, it's perfect timing for all this backlink stuff, and all this preparation for everybody talking to your customers. If you're not talking to them, because they're gonna be spending money somewhere with somebody for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So get in the game. I'm all about creating the matrix versus being in the matrix. But yeah, Favor, we good to go.
For sure, for sure. Thank you. Go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up something about Marcus brought up Hotjar earlier and heat mapping tools. One thing that we've been finding out as we've been digging into the new privacy policies and doing it the right way and making sure everybody's website, no matter what state you're in, is, and we use Termageddon, and that is a great tool. If your website is not set up with it, you just go to Termageddon and you pay $100. I'm sorry, $119 to get a license. And what it does is you spend an hour and a half answering all the questions about your business, and it'll ask you a question like, "Are you tracking?" It's not saying the word heat mapping, but are you tracking how people move on your website? And then you put yes because you have Hotjar on that website, and then it takes care of putting that into your privacy policy. Like, it's literally writing your privacy policy. I'm telling you, an hour and a half to answer these questions. It takes a while. You get better at it as we work with each client to help them set it up for their. But here's the great thing about this: we're at what, 15 states now that have some type of privacy policy. And if you're selling around the whole country, or the whole world, you need to be set up for this because fines will be coming down at some point. All it takes is one person to that some new lawyer wants to go after because it pissed off his sister, and they're going to make an example out of some small business somewhere that didn't have any privacy policies up that were correct. Now that might be 2 years, 5 years down the road, who knows? But um, this the hot jars are can actually considered, it could be something that's going to go away sometime real soon, because even though we can't tell who is really doing this, it is a privacy violation, and people are looking at it, and legislators are saying, this is just a little bit too big brotherish. Of course we all love it, right? It's great to see that a button's not working, or somebody thinks that a picture on your website is a button. They keep clicking it. So then you go, oh my gosh, maybe I should make that clickable, duh. Instead of frustrating people. And click rage is fun to look at, isn't it? You can see it when you're looking at the heat map. You can literally see somebody just hitting it, a whole bunch of times. Like, why is this not working? Because they're mad because they're thinking that should go somewhere. It doesn't happen a lot, but it sure is fun to watch somebody having a bad day on your website. But I really would look at that look at Termageddon. There's a few other tools that do it, but if you want to get ready to go, at some point, Google is going to put some value on people who have good privacy policies in place. Just like everything, Google always gives us a long roadmap, like accessibility. You're not necessarily getting dinged for it, but it is kind of a technical SEO thing. If your colors are not easy to read, like say you have tan print on a white backdrop, well, the variance between those two colors is not good enough for people who have issues reading, people that are sight challenged. So you're going to get dinged for that more and more as time goes by. So Google's been giving us a long runway to get our websites in order, and they have tools out there. Well, same with privacy policies. We're not getting dinged yet, but at some point it's going to become a ranking factor. So do consider that, especially if you want to look legit, so to speak, if you really want to look good and do all the things. If you're an I dot or T crosser, I think it's worth the $20 a month to get Termageddon, or $10 a month. Sorry.
I'm gonna definitely grab it. I put Shermageddon on my to do list, so I'm gonna grab it. Um, on the privacy side, I don't know. I think a lot of people, they be so afraid to get fined, when it comes to these privacy things, that they don't even start using these tools because they be so afraid of the $250 fine. So they prevent themselves from making $250,000 in a year because they're scared of the $250 fine. But I hope that everybody is more afraid of just not making money and not creating versus just scared of the fine. That keeps people sitting on the couch. That keeps people from logging in to win. It keeps people from swiping the card for the free trial. And yeah, it sucks that people think that way. Me, I don't think that way. My thoughts is, and I say this often, especially on this app, sue me from my Lambo. You know what I'm saying? Sue me from my Lambo. Sue me from. I'm gonna be in Miami in my Lambo, driving down Ocean Drive when I get the phone call from my lawyer saying, "Hey, somebody want to sue you for you got a $50 fine because you sent this message or you did this thing online and you violated some privacy agreement or act." Because I know that I don't think the fines are ever that much. I think we just hear the word fine and we just be afraid. But that's it. I want to throw that part in there. Like, don't be so afraid of the fine that you stay the same. But yeah.
Ooh, that's a big one. Nah, thank you for that. You reminded me when you said Termageddon too. You reminded me of Termly. Termly.io. That's another platform too for privacy. And you're right, because those are pages in itself. When you look at a website sitemap, if that privacy policy is not in that sitemap, if you have a business, like when I was working with a client when we were connecting to Pinterest, because we also work with Pinterest, the staff. So we were trying to connect a client's e-commerce brand, their website to, this is a very good example to actually help people see how important this is. So Pinterest has a what is it called? It has the algorithm, yeah, that's the name. The algorithm is called Pixie, Pixie. So Pixie is able to scan through your pages, your lenses, and everything, your colors, your codes, and see exactly what what works best for you. So in this case, this client, she was selling, like skincare products for people that have acne, that need help, so that they can also at least make sure that they don't their skin doesn't just break out. So that's something that was really of a need for her. So we were able to create that, and then as we were connecting her to Pinterest, somebody built her website before we got in. So usually I like to say that our website, if we didn't build the website, somebody built it before we got in. So we now had to technically fix it. So in the fixing, we realized that in the privacy policy, it was very generic. So we're like, okay, let's change a few things here. So we changed it. Come to find out, there was one policy that was hidden that we didn't see. So we ended up finding it. And upon finding it, this is how we found it. I sent the business ID to the person that working at Pinterest. So we now said, okay, let's meet next week so we can talk about this client and see how we can get her connected. Because on Pinterest you have two check marks. You have a blue check mark and a red check mark. A blue check mark means you're a verified merchant. That means you can sell products on, you're pretty much following the guidelines, the privacy policy, and the terms of service. And then the red check mark is for a verified creator on Pinterest. So we're trying to get her the blue check mark. So only to get a report back, and they scanned it. Somebody on Pinterest went to her website and found a sentence. It was literally a sentence. Like, how they can say, like, words have power. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Literally, that's what happened with that privacy policy. There was a sentence that was in there that was talking about like food, something poisonous and hazardous, but that was like a generic text of, a sample text, and it was detected. And that was the reason why she didn't get that verified check mark. So we took it off. We re-indexed it into Google, make sure the servers are all responding to the same message, and then they rescanned it, and then that's how she was able to get her verified check mark on Pinterest. Because of that one sentence, that was blocking her. She was one sentence away from a verified merchant blue badge on Pinterest because of that. So what Renee is saying is so important. I've seen this happen. So whenever we see these things, we detect it because we've known, like just being in the game, just knowing these things, it's like, oh, spotlight. We know exactly what to do. So thank you so much for bringing that, Renee. And I think that's going to help a lot of people look at their websites a little differently, because people don't really see that. You just pay for a website, but you don't even know what you paid for. So there are things to look out for too when it comes to SEO. Cami, America Supermom, Renee, Marcus, would you like to say anything before we go? Any last words? Any advice you want to give anybody in the room listening? Feel free.
Man, I always got something to say. Uh, but for sure, ladies first. I want to hop in.
Well, they're probably listening. Cami, America Supermom, Renee. Yeah, they might. Yeah, they're probably listening in.
I'm here. I'm listening. I just I'm taking it all in. Okay, I told you this is definitely a learning uh room for me today. So I'm enjoying the conversation though.
Thank you. Thank you. Marcus, let's hear it.
It's pretty simple. Man, I like to focus on what the billionaires are doing. They say if you want to be a billionaire, you got to do what the billionaires are doing. And so that's what I've been doing since 2012, since I became an entrepreneur. And I've been doing a lot more than what I've started off doing in 2012. And so that's what business is. Every time you hear a new strategy, it's up to you to implement it fast or not. And every strategy isn't for you and your brand or your business, your vision, but some of them are. And right now, the newer strategies, the ones they got to do with this online, the digital way, the making, creating, and generating dollars online versus in the oxygen world, versus the people that's going to get it. A lot of these strategies are the same. Once you understand them, once you learn them, these tools, these softwares, these principles, you can apply them to every industry and get this money and change your family tree. So data over dollars is one of my favorite things to say. That's kind of what I'm living by now. A lot of people on earth and in business, they focus on dollars more than the data. And the people that do that, I think they have a temporary mindset. You know, you focus on just the dollars, you'll be making money for a little while. But if you focus on the data too, you'll make money forever. So uh, that's it. Yeah, create the metrics or be in it. But Favor, man, I appreciate your spaces, man. You creating some nice spots, nice spaces and stuff. So thanks for bringing me up.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Renee?
Yeah, I'll just add one thing that's overlooked by a lot of people is claiming their map prominence on Apple Maps and Google Maps. Well, Google Maps is going to be connected to your Google business profile. So a lot of people do that, but they forget to go into Apple Maps. And Apple Maps is used in all the cars, right? A lot of the cars are having Apple CarPlay put right in them. And so people default to that, and DuckDuckGo uses that. And then Apple Maps, wait, let's say Google owns Waze, right? So even though it's not a search engine per se, it is something that is going to connect with Google. So make sure you're on your Google business profile and your map, you're put correctly in the right place. Your pin is the right place. And I think Yahoo also uses Google Maps. So really, Apple Maps is just going to set you up in the Apple ecosystem, and then DuckDuckGo. But Apple Maps is kind of hard to do as an agency for other clients. It's one of the things I hate to do. I usually have my clients do it right from their own phone, but you can just Google Google how to put yourself on Apple Maps, but it's really not that hard from your desktop. You'll be glad you did.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're so right on that. There were 4 clients that we connected just in the last month to about 67 local listings, and they were only on about 2 or 3. So being on Apple Siri, Brown Book, local, Opendis, Foursquare, like you're saying, Renee, Apple Maps, those are things that are important because those maps, when you look at a map and you see a restaurant icon or hotel icon, it really shows like those emojis really tell a lot about your business credibility. Like they look like emojis, but those are NAICS codes. Those are marketing messages. Those are icons representing a certain industry that people are aligned with when it comes to market share. So when we look at those things, it can really paint a bigger picture for us long term. So this is value, 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 value. And I love it. And I hope you guys also pay attention and take action because value applied is value implied. But if it's not applied, it's just vanity. So we want to make sure that everybody is doing it correctly. And that's why we create spaces like this. So thank you, Cami. Thank you so much again. Thank you, Supermom, Renee, Marcus. Appreciate you. Paris, Soda. Soda, I saw your message. I'm going to respond back to you right after we get off here. I'll connect with you. Roderick, Mo, and Swinda. Thank you all so much for being here. God bless you all. Enjoy your day and enjoy your week as well. I'm gonna be here tomorrow. I have rooms all week this week. So tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central, I'll be talking about web pages versus social media pages versus landing pages. So we're going to talk about that. And if you want to connect with me, click the link above, save this replay, because I also have a link previous to this one where you can join the workshop and sign up for the workshops we have, because we have a lot of information to give you on the other side. So you can visually see what we're doing, take the replay, take action, and take charge of your industry. Thanks, guys. God bless you. Take care. And I'm going to see you all soon.